Hey everybody, so today we're going to be learning how to make these pumpkins. I haven't really decided what I'm going to call them yet. I think they're going to be spikes, like spiky, spooky pumpkin. It's not really spiky, but this is the spike stitch. So I do love it when I use black. If you were to use black, maybe black and purple, black and green. I use black and red, alternating. I know my mother said they look like dipped pumpkins, right? Like a candied pumpkin. Either way, I am in love with this pattern and I wanted to share it with you guys in time for the fall season and definitely Halloween. So let's get into it. Okay, so I am using a 4.5 millimeter hook for this. I use a pair of scissors. I highly suggest a metal darning needle because you will be attaching the stem and this stuff to the top of it. And it's just so much easier. I can imagine a plastic one breaking. So definitely a metal one is highly recommended. I do use a little stitch marker for one part of it. So if you have one of those handy, definitely grab that. If not, a piece of yarn also works, like an alternating color of yarn. Today I'm going to be using the base of the pumpkin right here with this orange. It is a soft orange. I think it's called Desert Glaze. This is by I Heart This Yarn over at Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to be doing white for the top. I didn't want to use black for this tutorial because sometimes that can be hard to see. So these are the colors we are going to be using today. You're also going to need some fiber fill, a lot more than this, but have some of that handy as well. Okay, so we are going to start with a magic ring. I do mine with the X right there. Go underneath, over, and grab it. I do have a tutorial on that. If you need to watch that again, go ahead, but I will also tag the video right here if you need to watch that. So we're going to chain one to get where we need to be, and we're going to single crochet 6 into this magic ring. Okay, go ahead and pull that nice and tight. I like to do a backwards slip stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hook into that first stitch from behind right there. I don't like working in the spiral, and for this pattern, definitely you're going to need it even, so we're going to do a round. So go ahead and pull that through. Oops, almost lost a little piece of that. There we go. When we turn it back around, it's much more uniform. So go ahead and chain one. And we are going to do an increase round for round 2. So go ahead and do 2 single crochets into each stitch around. I have a tendency to do my stitches a little tight. There we go. Okay, so once you are sure you have 12 single crochets, go ahead and count. And 12 can be kind of difficult to see. The first stitch right here, just because it is kind of sideways because we came in through the back instead of the front. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. And that is the first single crochet right there. So we're going to go ahead and do our backward slip stitch, as I like to call it. I'm not sure what it's actually called, but that's my little name for it. Okay, chain one. There we go. Okay, and for round 3, it's another increase round. So go ahead and single crochet 1 in the first stitch and then 2 in the next. And go ahead and follow this all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, at the end of round 3, we are going to go ahead and locate our first stitch. And at the end of this round, you should have 18. So go ahead and count those. But I know I do, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. Whoops. shoved it right through the whole stitch right there. There we go. Okay, so go ahead and do your backward slip stitch like normal and chain 1. And obviously we are increasing, right? Because we're getting to the size of our pumpkin. And I will let you know right this second that we are going to be increasing until we have 8 single crochets between the increases. So that goes all the way up to round 10. So that's 10 rows of increases. I will go ahead and put a timestamp somewhere on the screen right now to let you guys know where you can skip ahead right now. But for those of you who want to follow along, I will show you the beginning of each round in case that is not clear for you. So do what you will. Okay, so round 4 is another increase round. So we are going to go ahead and start with a single crochet of 2. And 1 in the first one, 1 in the second one, and then 2 into the third. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this all the way around. And by the end of this round, you should have 24. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so the end of round 4, and you have 24 single crochet into your round. Go ahead and do your backwards slip stitch like normal. And round 5 is also an increase round, and we are going to start off with 3 single crochet and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, and then 2 single crochet into the same stitch. And go ahead and repeat that all the way around. And by the end of this round, you should have 30. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so once you're sure you have 30 single crochet, you've done your backward slip stitch and you've chained 1, go ahead and this is another increase round. So we're going to do 4 single crochet, 3 and 4, and then another increase. Okay, so go ahead and do that all the way around. And by the end of this round, which is round 6, you should have 36. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so once you're sure you have 36, you've done your backward slip stitch and you've chained 1. Row 7 is another increase. So we are just going to do 5 single crochets and then an increase. And one little thing that I always like to know is like, even if I don't count, you can see the last increase right here, and we are doing our increases into the second stitch of the increase. So that's always a good little way to do it, and then you can count at the end. So go ahead and do that, and at the end of this round, you should have 42. Okay, so once you're sure that you have 42, go ahead and do your backwards slip stitch into that first stitch right there and chain 1. And this is another increase round, so we're going to go ahead and do 6 single crochet and then our increase. Four, 5, 6, and then your increase. And by the end of this round, you should have 48. Okay, so once you are sure that you have 48, we are going to do another increase round. So go ahead and do 7 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and do your increase. And by the end of this round, you should have 54 single crochet. Okay, so once you have finished round 7 and you are sure you have 54 single crochet, go ahead and insert your hook, and we're going to do one more round of increases. So go ahead and do 8 single crochet and then your increase. And by the end of this round, you should have 60. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so once you are absolutely sure that you have 60 around, and I say absolutely sure because it would suck to do this next part and have to undo it because you got your count wrong. But we always add a stitch or take away a stitch. Sometimes, if you're a true crocheter, we all do it. No one wants to frog something. Okay, so for rounds 11 through 18, which is 8 rows, we are just going to be doing one single crochet into each stitch around. So make sure you are doing your backwards slip stitches like normal. Nothing changes there, but definitely just go around for 8 rows. So I will meet you back at the end of row 18. Oh, and then also go ahead and sew this into the center right there, pulling that nice and tight because I will have that done when we come back as well. Okay, so one thing I should have mentioned was that I put my stitch marker right here to tell me where I was starting my first row of single crochets. So you should have 8 rows of single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and remove that now. Okay, so once you are ready to do your slip stitch, go ahead and snip off some orange, the orange that you're using, because we are done with this color. And you're going to go ahead and grab your white and set it close to you. Go ahead and do your slip stitch like normal with your orange. Don't do your chain 1 though. You're going to turn your work like this. You're going to grab the white and pull it through, just like that. And now we're going to pull the orange nice and tight. Chain 1, and then you can pull this nice and tight like that. Okay? Now we're going to hold these 2 strings. We're going to crochet around them to make it easier for sewing in the end. Make sure that you're doing this in the first stitch, which is right here. You are going to crochet 1, single crochet, another single crochet, and 1 more. So you're going to do 3 single crochets. Now the next part is going to be a spike stitch. So it's going to be done around this next single crochet right here, but we're going to go 3 rows down. So 1, 2, 3, and the 4th stitch over is right here. So 3 rows down from that is right there. And we're going to insert our hook right into that hole. We're going to go around, grab our yarn, and pull it through and up. You don't want to pull too tight because you will create a hole like that. You just want to have it kind of loose and finish off your single crochet just like that. Okay? And then you're going to just repeat this all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, and you need to really be paying attention where you're putting these because it should end with the spike stitch. So make sure you're going down 1, 2, 3. Grab your yarn and pull it up. Now, if you feel that this loop right here, the one that's on your hook, is getting too big right here, what you can do is go back here, grab this string and pull it nice and tight, just like that. Now that's loose, right? But if you hold it with your finger and then pull this string, there you go. It tightens up, everything's nice and tight again, but not too tight. Like I said, you don't want this pulling up. So into the next stitch. And one good thing to remember too is that you should have 3 stitches in between these spikes. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. Go down 3 rows, insert our hook, come back, and finish off our single crochet. So go ahead and do this all the way around. You can go ahead and rewind if you need to watch that again, but I will meet you right here. Okay, so I am here at the very last stitch, and if you have 60 all the way around, it should come out perfect. So go ahead and do your very last spike stitch. we go. Okay. Go ahead and do your slip stitch like normal, taking care of which stitch you were putting your hook into. There we go. Chain 1. In row 20 through 22, so 20, 21, 22, 3 rows are going to be single crochet in the white. So go ahead and do your 3 rows just like this. You're going to go into the top of that just like normal and continue all the way around. And I will meet you at the end of row 22. Okay, so once you have your 3 rows of white done, go ahead and do your slip stitch like normal and make a chain 1. Now we're going to start decreasing, and this is row 23, and you are going to do 8 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, oopsie, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and I like to do a invisible decrease, and that is done by putting your hook into the front only of the first stitch, front only of the second stitch. Grab your yarn and pull it through both of those. Grab your yarn and pull it through the remainder. So we'll go ahead and do that again for you guys. So go ahead and single crochet 8. Okay, so front loop only, front loop only. Oops, sorry if I went off frame. Yarn over, pull through both of those. Yarn over, pull through the 2. And then go ahead and repeat this all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay, so the end of row 23 is done, and you're going to go ahead and do your slip stitch like normal. Making extra care. See, don't do what I just did. That's 1 stitch away. Extra care on what stitch you were putting your hook into. There we go, chain 1. This is another decrease round, so we're going to go ahead and single crochet 7. And do your invisible decrease. Front loop, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through. So go ahead and repeat this, doing 7 single crochets and then a decrease all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so we have done our decrease round of, this is row 24, and you should have had a total stitch count of 48. So we're going to start round 25 right now. You've done your slip stitch, you've chained 1, where you're going to single crochet 6 and then do a decrease. So go ahead and do your invisible decrease and repeat this all the way around, and at the end of this round you should have 42. Okay, at that end of that round you should have had 42, and we're going to continue on to round 26. So go ahead and do a single crochet of 5 and then your decrease. 3, 4, 5, and then your decrease. And at the end of this round, you should have 36. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so by the end of row 26, you should have 36 single crochet all the way around. And we are going to continue decreasing. So for row 24, or I'm sorry, for row 27, we are going to single crochet 4 and then do our decrease. And then a decrease. And you're going to do this all the way around. And at the end of this round, you should have 30. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so at the end of this round, I'm going to go ahead and do my normal slip stitch and chain 1. If I can get this thing in there, there we go. Oh, I think I went too far. There we go. Slip stitch and chain 1. And it is at this time that I'm going to flip it inside out. And I'm going to take these 2 strings, tie them in a couple knots. There we go. And I'm just going to give these a snip. Okay. And now I'm going to start stuffing this little guy. And I'm not going to stuff it all the way, but I do want to make sure that I get a lot of this in here so that it doesn't make it too hard to do once we start closing it more. So what I like to do is I like to kind of spread it out to the sides and then stuff the middle. That way I know there's not going to be any folds like that because we don't want it too loose. Otherwise, when we cinch it up, it's not going to look right. Okay. Now we are going to start round 28. And that is another decrease round. And we are going to start with a single crochet of 3 and then do our decrease. And by the end of this round, you should have 24. So do 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so at the end of row 28, you should have 24, and we are going to start row 29, and that is another decrease round. So go ahead and single crochet 2 and then do a decrease. And by the end of this round, you should have 18. So go ahead and do that all the way around. 1, 2, and then a decrease. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so by the end of that round, you should have 18, and I am going to go ahead and pull that and do a little bit more stuffing. This is probably one of your last chances to get a good amount in if that's what you feel like you need to do. But if you overstuff it, it's going to start pulling the stitches apart. So make sure that you are not pulling it too tight. A good way to find out is make sure you're holding this loop tight so that you don't lose it. And then you take this and you're going to wrap it around. Usually wrap it around twice. And if this starts folding in a weird way, like this is not, so I have it nice and plump right now, I could probably stop. Although this is kind of folding right here. I feel like this is definitely a hole. So I'm going to fill this up a little bit more. Let's see. Yeah, see. Just a little bit. I always say just a little bit and then I shove more in there. But I have understuffed things and they come out all loppy and that's never fun. Okay, let's see. I like to roll it up, give it a nice shaping. Make sure there's no clumps. That's what the amigurumi sticks are really great for. And I gave mine away in a giveaway. And I'm waiting for the new ones to be shipped to me. So let's see. Let me grab this. Pull that really tight. There we go. Okay, that's probably good. Okay, so let's keep going. And I might stuff this little hole a little bit more at the end of the next round. But this next round is another closing round. This is round 20, nothing, it's round 30. Okay, so let's go ahead and crochet 1 single crochet and then a decrease. And we're gonna go ahead and do this all the way around. 1 single crochet and then a single crochet decrease. And by the end of this round, you should have 12. And I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so at the end of round 30, you should have 12. It should look something like this. This orange is showing way brighter in the camera than what it actually is. If you want to see the true color of this, I just bought this at Hobby Lobby in a yarn haul, and I will go ahead and put that tag right up here so you guys can definitely see the true shade of this, because I feel like this makes it look very bright and it's not that bright. But this is our last decrease round, round 31, and we are going to do a single crochet decrease into every stitch around. So go ahead and put your hook into that first single crochet into the front loop of it. If you can, maybe, there we go. 1, 2, pull through both, and you're going to do this all the way around. 1, 2, and after the second one, I feel like it's a good idea just to put a stitch marker into that first one, because how tightly this closes, it might be hard to see which stitch you started on. Okay, so go ahead and continue this all the way around, doing your decreases. There we go. And one more. Okay. Remove your stitch marker and then go ahead and do a slip stitch. Front, back, doesn't matter. I always feel like front's a little bit easier right here. Right there. Chain 1. Now you are going to be pulling out quite a bit. And if I were you, I would go around this pumpkin a few times, right? So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably 8 was fine, but I like to do things overkill. Okay. Go ahead and pull that all the way through. That long little string we just did, because we are going to need that. Oops, be careful. To cinch up our pumpkin. Definitely be careful. Don't do what I did. I think I pulled too fast. Wow, look at that. I really created a problem. Wow. Okay. Goodness gracious. Okay. Pull out the right side. There we go. Let's go a little bit slower this time. Okay. Okay, so now that I have this threaded through my darning needle, I am going to be closing this, and we're going to go ahead and go into the front loop only, and I'm going to go down. Oops, don't do that. There we go. And I'm going to weave it back and forth, so up and then down through the front loops only, all the way around. So go ahead and do that all the way around, just like that. And I usually go back into the first stitch, just like that. Okay, I'm going to pull that nice and tight. I am then going to tie a little knot right here, just like that, and pull that nice and tight. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it into the center as much as you can. And we are going to turn it over and we are going to come out the very center hole right there of the bottom. We're going to pull that all the way through. There we go. Okay. Now, I usually like to start with the seam area right here. So I'm going to pull this up right about there, and I'm going to go in between, what is this? The first and the last spike stitch. And we are going to take our needle, make sure that I am not, oh, see, that would have been a kerfuffle. Okay. I'm going to take that right there, and I'm going to insert my hook right into the center of the top of the pumpkin. And I'm going to come back out the bottom right here again. Same hole. Go ahead and pull that through. Just like that. And I'm going to pull that nice and tight, just like that. I'm going to go around the same spot again and do the same thing. Come out the center. There we go. Pull that one nice and tight. There we go. All right, now it doesn't really matter how far, I mean, it depends on, how much string you have left right here, is how many times you can do that. So I'm going, and I always go clockwise so that I don't get mixed up when we're doing this. So right here, I'm gonna do 2 of these spike stitches into the next section. And I'm gonna go into the center. Make sure you come out the exact center right here. Right there. Pull that nice and tight. There we go. Make sure you're going right at that same spot. There we go. Like I said, I probably cut way too much string. Okay, next section. I guess I got 2 of them in there again. I don't think I do it even all the way around, and that's fine because, I mean, you can if you want, but I feel like it's cuter if they're not completely uniform. Because pumpkins aren't completely uniform. But nice and tight. And that was the second time I'm going around that. See, it's hard sometimes. I get confused. I don't know if it's just me, or it's everybody. But sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, which one was I on? Okay. Let's go. But nice and tight. See, and this is right here. This is where I feel like maybe I didn't stuff it enough, see? Because we don't want weird little folds like this. We want it to bulge out like this one. See, so there's my indicator that I don't think I stuffed this enough. Maybe I could move some stuffing around. But it's okay. It'll still be cute. We'll make it work. Past the point of no return. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over. Yeah, I could go like that. Give that one a nice big plump one. Maybe that would work. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this next one 3. Oh, almost hit it. There we go. Into the center. Yeah, I think that looks just fine. I like that. It's going to give it a little bit more plumpness. There we go. Into the center. Come out the exact center. I feel like this part isn't as important if you go into, because we're going to put the stem here. So even if you don't go into the same hole, it's not that big of a deal. But coming out over here, this is where we need to make sure that we're putting it into the center. There we go. There we go. That was 2, right? Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Okay. I'm going to go around these next 2. There we go. I need to fix that. Nice and tight. Okay. Nice and tight. There we go. Okay, now I can either come right here and then go again right there, which I think is exactly what I'm going to do. Otherwise, I could go right here and just make one giant one, two giant ones, but no need to do that. So just going to go right there in between that one. So I have two in this side. There we go. Giving myself more length on my string. Here we go. Pull that nice and tight. Go through again. We're almost done, you guys. Nice. Pull that nice and tight. Last one. I'm gonna give myself some more length on my needle. Here we go. Okay. Go around right there. Oops. Nice, that one was easy to find. There we go. Go around one more time. All right. Pull that nice and tight. So here we go. And I go ahead, and this is one of the reasons why I said having a metal darning needle is key, because no matter which way you do this, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to go back around right here, just around. I know we came back in right here. I'm just going to go around one of the stitches in the first round, and I'm going to come back through the top. Just like that. Still nice and tight. Everything's nice and tight. And now it's hooked around there. It's nice and secured. And we are going to go ahead and go around one of the stitches right here, real close. And I find it's easier if I turn it on its side like this and kind of nestle the needle into one of these grooves right here, and it won't be as difficult to grab. So go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go ahead and tie a knot right there. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to poke it through. I'm going to get it to come through one of these stitches right here really clearly. Nope, I want it to come through one of the holes right there. There we go. Grab that, pull it through. And then I'm just going to go through again into that same exact hole. I'm not trying to go around a stitch. I'm just trying to create length on this in here. So I'm going to go through the next side. Pull it all the way through. There we go. And then I'm going to give this little snip. There we go. Now we can start working on the stem, curlicue, and the leaf. Okay, now that we're done with the base of the pumpkin, I'm going to grab my orange yarn and do a magic ring. And I'm going to chain one and do 8 single crochets into the magic ring. Okay, I'm going to pull that nice and tight. And I'm going to be working in the spiral for the stem because I don't want to seam in the stem. And so we're going to go directly into that first stitch right there and start our next round. So go ahead and do that. We're going to single crochet for 9 rounds. And right now I'm actually going to take my hook or my stitch marker, and I'm going to very carefully locate that very first stitch right there and put my marker into the side of that. Okay. And so go ahead and work in the spirals. And then when you get to about probably row 4, you're going to want to turn it inside out and sew this part inside into this ring right there and cinch it up. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you at the end of round 9. Okay, so the inside is all tied and sewed. I still have my stitch marker on. Okay, that's the first round down there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to go ahead and do a slip stitch into the next stitch. Chain 1, pull it, and we're going to give ourselves a little bit of sewing room. And go ahead and pull that through. You can also remove your stitch marker. Now we're going to attach this to the pumpkin. And I always like to stuff my stem a little bit, starting with just a little bit of it. Probably should have done this as I went, but that's what a pencil is for. There we go. I don't like them to be flat. I like them to have a little bit of shape to them. Just a little bit of firmness. Okay. Not too much at all. There we go. And if you feel like it's lumpy, just give it a nice little roll. It'll be fine. Okay, now that we have our needle threaded, we are going to sew on the stem. So go ahead and put it right in the middle. And you're going to start by putting your needle into the pumpkin. And we are going to come out the center right here, just like we did before. There we go. He's attached a little bit. And then we're going to go around on the other side. This is probably like round 1 or something. And then come back up, and we're going to go through the inside of the stem, the stitch right there, and come out just like that. And then I'm going to go down into the next stitch right there. Down. Oh, wow, look at that. Got it first try. Yay for me. Pull that in. I'm going to go around the next one right there. Come out to one of the sides that has not been done yet. Just like that. And go down. And so you're just going to sew this all the way around, just like that. This side is done. This side is not. So let me actually go on this side. Aim for this part. Aim for the side that you're gonna sew on next. Okay, well, I forgot to come out the stitch, so try not to do that. Go next and go back down. And since I came out to the side right there, I'm going to go up through the center this time. Take a little look. This side is not attached, so I'm going to go ahead and come through on this side. Trying to do this where you guys can see. Just like that. And back in if you want, or you can go to the next stitch. I'm going to go into the next stitch and back down. Okay, so just basically you're going to go around and you're going to look for the holes where you didn't attach, because I don't go all the way around. I like going kind of across when I do it in the very beginning and all throughout. I just crisscross it all the way through. So Here we go. I'm going to go into the next one, go down. There we go. Kind of just look around, see right there. I'm going to come up right there. Go into the stitch right next to it. It's looking pretty attached to me. I'm going to call that good. And since orange is down here, we are going to tie it down here. And I am coming out the center. And this is why I absolutely suggest doing this with a metal needle. Because it can be difficult to get this in there. Goodness gracious. Just trying to go around this stitch right here to do a knot. There we go. There we go. There's my knot. I'm gonna go ahead and shove this back into that pumpkin. Come back out. Okay. That was a boo-boo right there. I'm gonna fix that. Okay. So give that a nice little pull and snip. There we go. Okay. Okay. This is looking really cute. Now we are going to work on the little curly Q. Okay, so to do the curly Q, we are going to take our orange yarn, because that's the color I'm going to do it in, and I'm going to chain 21. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that you have 21, I'm going to go ahead from the second hook, or the second chain from the hook, we're going to do an increase, single crochet increase into every stitch, which basically means 2 single crochet into every stitch. So go ahead and do that. And by the end, you should have 40 single crochets. And you will notice as you do it that it starts to naturally curl, and that is what we want. So go ahead and do that all the way to the end, and I will meet you at the end of your chain. Okay, so now that we have reached the end of our curly Q, I'm going to just chain 1 like that, and we're going to snip it, oops, and pull it through. And then I'm going to take these 2 ends right here, and I'm going to tie these together, just like that. And I'm going to tie it into 2 knots. Okay. Now I like to make sure that these are always the same length when I go to cut or when I go to sew it in. So go ahead and put both of these strings through your darning needle like that. Grab your pumpkin, and we are going to pick a side, whatever side. Maybe if yours has like a fold like mine does, if you didn't stuff it enough, maybe that's the side you want to put it on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I feel like there's a little fold right here. So I'm going to insert my needle right there at the base. Look at that. Pull all the way through. It's pretty easy to secure that. So now I'm going to remove my needle. I'm going to make a knot on this side now. Just going to tie these really close. Attach my darning needle again. Okay, since I'm coming out the middle right here, I'm going to go into the same stitch if I can and just come straight out the top somewhere, not the center. It's not what I'm trying to do. Somewhere in the top over here. There we go. Anywhere it'll come up basically where you don't have too much trouble getting it out. There we go. And I've pretty much pulled that knot right back in there. Let's snip this really close. Okay. That's what I do if anything's poking out. Okay, time to work on the leaf now. Okay, so to start with the leaf, you're going to start with your orange, your base color, and you're going to do a magic ring. Just like that. And you're going to chain 2. Goodness gracious. Okay. And then you're going to do 12 double crochet into the magic ring. Okay, let me count just to double check. As you should too. Do not count that chain 2 that we did as a double crochet. Only count the actual double crochet you did. Yeah, I got 12. Okay, so go ahead and pull that nice and tight. And go ahead and do your backward slip stitch. Like I said, ignore the chain 2. That was just for the length. So the top of that double crochet would be right there. And I'm going to insert my hook from behind. Oops, only through the top 2. There we go. And pull that through. Okay. Go ahead and do your chain 1. And round 2 is going to start with 1 single crochet. And then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Okay, and then we are going to do 2 double crochet into the very next stitch. Go ahead and do 2 double crochet into that. And then do that again. So 2 double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, then we are going to single crochet 1, just like that. So you can see the shape of the leaf starting to take shape. Now, next we are going to do 2 treble crochet, which means you're going to wrap your hook twice before we even go in. So go in, do that, go in, pull through. Now you have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Goodness gracious, come on. There we go. Yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that again. So yarn over twice, insert, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now we're going to do a picot. I don't know what the heck it's called. I think it's called P-I-C-O-T, picot. So 1, 2, 3. You're going to chain 3 right there, and then you're going to insert your hook into these 2 loops right there, the front of the stitch right there. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through that chain right there. There we go. We just gave our little leaf a tip. Now we're going to work our way back. So go ahead and do 2 double crochet or 2 treble crochet into the very next stitch. Now work 1 single crochet into the next, then do 2 double crochet into the next one, two double crochet into the next one, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet into the next one, and 1 single crochet into the next. And I am going to go ahead and slip stitch like normal into that first single crochet right there, just like that. Chain 1, give myself some length for sewing, and snip. Go ahead and I'm going to pause real quick and sew this part in right here off camera. Okay, so now that that is done, we are going to, sorry about that, we're going to turn our leaf over like this, and we are going to insert our hook into that first single crochet right there, just like that. You're going to grab your white yarn, leaving a little bit of a tail, and you're going to pull it through. You're going to chain 1, and how you're going to carry this tail around is going to be kind of interesting, but it's pretty cool. So let me show you what I mean. So go ahead, and we are going to slip stitch all the way around this, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to insert a hook, and we're going to put our hook underneath this back string right there. And when we do our slip stitch, it locks it in, see? And then insert your hook the next one. But if we were to do that again, this would be on top and then we'd lose it, right? So we're going to put that on the bottom this time. And then when we do our slip stitch, it locks it in. And so we're going to alternate that, putting our hook underneath and on top of that tail as we slip stitch around. And go ahead and make sure that you're giving it a nice little tug, not too tight because we don't want it cinching up. So go ahead and do that all the way around. And I will show you what to do when we get up to the peacoat. Okay. So once you get up to the top, go ahead and insert your hook into the center right there. And make sure you're going around that the way you're supposed to. And do your slip stitch. Just like that. Go back down. I'm going to go all the way back down. Okay. Go ahead and slip stitch around. Don't forget that one. Slip stitch around that. And don't forget to give that a little pull, not too tight. And now, to make things easy on ourselves, make sure you have the right string. Goodness gracious. Okay. I'm just going to do a slip stitch down into there. Just like that. Chain 1. Give it a snip. Okay. Now, what I like to do is make sure that these are all fairly the same size because it makes it a lot easier when you go to do this next step. Nice. Okay. So I am going to tie these in a knot. Since these ones are closer together, actually, yeah, those are closer together, I'm going to tie them in a knot right like this. Gonna do 2 times just to be sure. Cute. Okay. Okay, so we are going to put all 3 of these strands into our darning needle, just like this. Okay. You're going to grab your pumpkin, and I like putting my leaf on the opposite side. So this is where I'll be putting mine. You can do what you want, put yours wherever you want. Make sure you have the right side up though. This is the right side. So now that I have all 3 on here, I'm just going to put it right inside there and go all the way through if I can. There we go. Wiggle, wiggle. There we go. Doesn't have to be in the middle. And again, make sure that the correct side is facing down or facing up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to separate these strings back here. Oops. Yeah, well, take them off. Take them all off the needle, and I am going to tie a knot in just the white ones. I'm going to tie 2 knots right in here. And then just like that. And then we're going to tuck those back up into our project. Just like so. So we're going to go like this. And to the best of my ability, I'm going to go right back into that hole that we came out of, just like that. Here we go. Here we go. And now I'm going to give this a little snip. And now we can work on sewing on the leaf. And I will show you why I do this. It will make sense in just a minute. Okay, so now we have our orange, right? And we're going to put this through. It's good to go not necessarily right back into the same hole, maybe one next to it. We're going to go all the way back up right there. And this is how I sew mine on so that it's secure, but it still has a little bit of a 3D effect. So I'm going to go right next to it, right there. And I'm going to go straight back down. There we go. And I'm going to go 1 stitch over, just like that. And I'm going to come up about halfway up the leaf, about right there, almost halfway. There we go. And don't pull too hard because you don't want to create a little dent just like that, like I did. Go over a stitch and go back down. Okay, now I'm going to go over 1 stitch just like that. And I'm going to aim up towards the middle right here. There we go. Okay, now I want to move over to this side. So I'm going to go down just like that. Not too far over, it'll blend in with those stitches right there. So we're going to go down just like that. All the way down. See? Now we're going to go around this stitch right here. No, that's too big. Let's go right around that right there. And I'm going to come over to this side of the leaf. Just like that. There we go. And now I'm gonna sew it back down just like this. Okay, and this is probably our last time. Because this, maybe I didn't give myself enough string, right? So, but I like to go about halfway just like that anyways. So I think for me, this is perfect. It's gonna come off just a little bit, but for the most part, it is attached down. So I'm just going to create a knot around a stitch right here. There we go. Go through a couple stitches. Then I'm gonna go through. Give it a snip. And there we go. Look at that. Looks like a frosted pumpkin. That is so cute. This is so adorable. So now I have 3. I like this one. Looks like blood dripping down. And then I got this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and you guys make lots of different colors of these. I really like this pattern. I'm really digging the 3D aspect of the leaf. I love this pattern. I think I'm going to call it a dipped pumpkin. Is that what I should call it? Might be what I call it. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope your pumpkins look just as cute as these ones. Please, if you make this, tag me on Instagram. I would love to see your pumpkins. Would love to see how it came out, the colors you used. I love seeing people's work. So don't be afraid to share yours, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.